Hello, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Today's episode is going to be titled Losing Interest. This is a really personal topic for me. It's something I've struggled with for years. I'll be talking to a woman, and it feels like things are really clicking. She seems interested, like she's engaged in the conversation, laughing at my jokes, asking me questions, and responding quickly. It feels great. You get this sense of connection, like, okay, maybe this is something real. It's not like you're rushing to conclusions, but you can't help but think, all right, this is going somewhere. But then slowly something shifts. Sometimes it happens within a week, sometimes a month, and sometimes you're talking for several months before it starts. Out of nowhere, it's like she pulls back. Um, Her replies get shorter, she takes longer to respond, and eventually she just fades out. Maybe she ghosts you, maybe she blocks you, or maybe she just stops making any effort. Either way, it feels like the interest is gone and it hits you. And the thing is, I can't always pinpoint where it started or why it happened. That's what drives me crazy. Women lose interest for so many different reasons. It could be that they got bored, met someone else, or maybe I said something that rubbed them the wrong way without even realizing it. It's not like they usually tell you, hey, this is why I'm not feeling it anymore. They just disappear, and you're left wondering what went wrong. I actually did this poll once on an app. It lets you post questions and people can vote on different answers. I asked women why they lose interest in guys, and the most common answer was that they just get bored. That's hard to hear because if boredom is the issue, it makes you start questioning yourself. Am I not interesting enough? Am I not exciting? Am I doing something wrong? And when it keeps happening over and over again, it starts to mess with your confidence. I've tried so hard to prevent this from happening. I've worked on being the best version of myself, being thoughtful, engaging, and really trying to connect. I've tried to think before I speak, to listen, to show that I care. But at the same time, I try not to overthink every little thing because I know that can come across as unnatural. I just try to be myself. But even when I do everything right, it still happens. And that's the part that's so frustrating. It feels like no matter what I do, the end result is always the same. You know that saying, if everyone around you is the problem, maybe you're the problem? I've thought about that a lot. Um, when people keep losing interest, it makes you wonder if you're the common denominator. Am I doing something wrong? Am I missing something about myself that's pushing people away? But the thing is, I've talked to other guys, and so many of them deal with the same thing. It's not just me. I think social media and dating apps play a huge role in this. These platforms give people endless options. Think about it. A woman logs into a dating app or checks her DMs, and she's got a lineup of guys trying to get her attention. She might start talking to me, but then some other guy messages her, and then another and another. Before you know it, she's juggling conversations with 10 or 15 different guys. How is anyone supposed to hold her attention when there's always someone new popping up? That's where I try to remind myself of something important. If it's meant to work out, it will. If someone genuinely connects with me and appreciates who I am, they'll see my personality shine through all the noise. I don't have to compete or prove myself because the right person will value me for me. But even knowing that, it still stings when someone loses interest. It's hard not to take it personally. When it happens, I'll admit, I overanalyze. I replay conversations in my head, wondering if I said something wrong or if there was a moment where things shifted. But I've come to realize there's only so much you can do. A relationship, even just a conversation, is a two-way street. Both people have to put in the effort. And if someone decides they don't want to keep talking, that's on them. I can't control how someone else feels or acts. I think part of the reason it's so hard is that it feels like rejection. Even if it's not intentional, it's hard not to see it that way. You start questioning your worth, wondering if you're not good enough. But the truth is, it's not always about you. People have their own reasons for pulling back, and sometimes those reasons have nothing to do with anything you said or did. They might have personal issues, they might not be ready for something serious, or they might just be overwhelmed. You'll never know for sure, and that's the hardest part, accepting that you won't always get answers. I try to remind myself that I'm a good person. I know how to hold a conversation, ask thoughtful questions, and really connect with people. I've been told I'm easy to talk to, and I genuinely care about the people I talk to. So, when someone loses interest, I try to remember that it's not always a reflection of me. Still, it's tough. Sometimes I catch myself thinking, what if I'd been more exciting? What if I'd said this instead of that? But living in the past doesn't help. All I can do is be myself and trust that the right people will stick around. If someone doesn't see my value or doesn't want to put in the effort, then maybe they weren't meant to be part of my life. The way I'm talking to you right now, that's how I talk to everyone. I'm real, down to earth, and genuine. And if someone can't appreciate that, then that's on them, not me. It still sucks when it happens, but I've learned to let go. Chasing answers I'll never get only leads to frustration. So, yeah, it's a struggle and it hurts, but I remind myself that I'm doing my part by being open, honest, and authentic. The rest, that's up to them. And if they choose to walk away, that's their loss. I'm not going to stop being who I am because I know my worth, even if it takes time for the right person to see it. Anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Signing out. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye.